It's episode 19 of This Week in Track, and on today's show, some final thoughts about the Prefontaine Classic. The milers are talking trash at an incredible rate, and another epic comeback from Joseph Fahnbulleh. Let's begin. Start first with the Prefontaine Classic, which wrapped over the weekend. Great meet, as expected. Jakob Ingebrigtsen won the men's mile in convincing fashion, then said this afterwards to the media when asked if he's disappointed. No one went with him. Quote, "You can't be disappointed with people not being better, unfortunately." Which is true, which is actually true not just in running, but in life. But sometimes you read the quote and it's different when you hear it from their mouth. Let's watch actually this clip and what Jakob said.
Were you a little disappointed that nobody kind of went with you after the pacer dropped off the field today?
You can't be disappointed with people not being better, unfortunately.
He responded so quickly to that question, like he thought it was coming. He didn't skip a beat. It was like it's his daily affirmation above his mirror every morning. You can't be disappointed with people not being better, unfortunately. It's like Jakob's version of the live, laugh, love sign. The best part there, I think, is the unfortunately. He's talking like a guy who's been searching for competition his entire life and just is constantly underwhelmed with what is out there. And I think that was actually the case for him. Remember, he's like 17 years old, beating the best runners in the world. This is Peyton Jordan, 2018, beating Chalimo and Centrowitz. And he eventually does get beaten, but he's a 20-year-old gold medalist. So he's looking around, trying to figure out if there's anybody who can match him. But it's not just Ingebrigtsen. We're actually in a golden age now of men's mile trash talk. Here's Josh Kerr recently explaining why the U.S. 1500 meter running is soft. Of course, we had Oliver Hoare speak his mind about that 4x mile back and forth involving Cooper Tier and Cole Hawker, that Oregon group. And then who could forget Cole Hawker and Matthew Centrowitz staring into each other's eyes at the Olympic trials last year. This is the best event for trash talk. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. I was looking and thinking back. All right, this was 2019. Lyles staring at Coleman in the 100. That kicked off a little bit of back and forth, but it didn't go anywhere. Of course, you have the Lopez Lemong and Paul Chalimo rivalry. But everything else seems to be like subtext. No one's saying it directly. The men's milers are telling you directly how they feel. Not Timothy Chariot, who's probably the quietest talker on the entire circuit, but everybody else is pretty clear about where they stand in the men's mile, and I'm enjoying it. Let's go to some other Prefontaine Classic highlights. Elaine Thompson, hurrah, wins the women's 100, but I think that event as a whole is just really exciting again this year because you have Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and Shea Richardson gets runner-up in that race, runs 10.92 seconds. People are back aboard the Sha'Carri Richardson bandwagon, and the way people follow Sha'Carri Richardson is similar to other sports, just like a lot of attention, people critiquing and analyzing every little move. So it does not surprise me that the moment she runs well, everybody's like, yep, she's gonna do it again. A couple other things I'm feeling very confident about after the Prefontaine Classic. Faith Kipyegon in the 1500, 3:52 off of, look at these splits. Look how fast this thing was. 60.7, then 2:03 through 800, 3:07 through 1200, and she just took off from there. Very confident. As we know, nothing ever goes crazy in a championship 1500, so I'm all in on Faith Kipyegon. Ryan Crouser in the shot put. 23:02. Here's the Cathal Dennehy tweet saying he's stunned if the world record doesn't go down soon because he threw 23:02 off a static start, which is described here as a safer technique where less can go wrong. If you're an opponent of Ryan Crouser, you need the opposite to happen. You need a more risky technique where a lot can go wrong. Says he usually gets 40 to 60 more centimeters when using the full windup. I mean, is this like a major league pitcher just like throwing the ball like that? And we end with this week's edition of wait, there's no way Joseph Fahnbulleh came back in that race. Is there? Is there? Let's go to the East Prelim where Fahnbulleh, we knew he was going to get through. It's a preliminary round. He's one of the best runners in the nation, but it's not that he qualifies, it's how he qualifies. Let's watch, just freeze frame through this bad boy. Let's go back a little bit. So doesn't get a good start. Hey, we've seen that before. We're here to see just how big the comeback is. He's tried his best. All right. You see there about 15 meters or so into the race. He's well back. This is Fahnbulleh right here in the middle, as you can see. But this one actually gets better as it goes along, because it almost feels like he loses ground in the first part of the race, because when you're right about here, he's pretty far back, and you're thinking, well, these guys out front are running pretty well. We're at what, 50-ish meters, and he's still that far back. I mean, we're 6-7 seconds in the race. Is he actually going to be able to pull this one? Okay, now he's drawing even, but we're inside 15 meters. Now he's made the pass, and okay, we've seen this one before. I remember in 2011 when Usain Bolt false started, and people were really upset about it, and they were coming up with other ways that they could handle the false start rule. And one of them was, hey, after a false start, they just have to move their blocks back farther, and they can still run, but they are going to be starting from a disadvantage. First of all, that's silly. No one's going to do that rule. But it actually would have been fun with Bolt if he ever false started, because you wanted to see him come from behind. But that's essentially what we're seeing with Fahnbulleh every time he has these starts. It's just enormous deficits being erased immediately. I think eventually he's going to get the start figured out, and I think eventually it's going to be really bad for the rest of the world trying to win medals.